Going live.
Going live in 2, 1.
Alright, so today we are going to do something a little bit different than we did last week. Because eventually this stream will be questions submitted by our patrons at a certain level. However, we don't quite have enough questions for that yet, so today we're going to play Would You Rather and have it give us questions.
Indeed.
And also, our patron special guest is here as a special guest on our live stream. David, say hello.
Hello.
And then I am also Robin. I'm the other host of Books That Burn.
Yes. So we're going to start out with the question, would you rather live in the past or live in the future? Oh, also, as we get started, we do reserve the right to skip any question that we just don't feel like talking about. So,
Yeah.
let's put that out there up front.
I'd rather... See, this is a difficult question. Because you see, on one hand, it depends where I'm living in the past. On the other hand... Because, past for me might not be so good.
Yeah, but you're right, though. It depends on where you are in the world.
It depends where I am, but then also with how the world is, I don't know if the future's looking so hot either.
I don't know, the second half of last year was, pretty sweet for me, personally. The first half was pretty terrible because I had a concussion, but the second half was excellent. It was amazing, and it's over now, and it's 2020.
Can I set for this question? Can I set some kind of a little bit, not guidelines, but just an idea here? Sure. I think what the question asker means is not like when they say past. I don't think they mean like a few years ago. I think they mean like my brain immediately went to like
it's not your past or your future. It's.
I think it's like the past is general term, like the Revolutionary War or that kind of stuff. I think that's what they mean by past. Because I feel like if the question's like, would you rather live in a year ago? I mean, I wouldn't mind it.
I know that it's talking about further back than that. I'm just saying that
you just think that last year was the sweet spot.
The second half of last year was pretty sweet, but I can't spend my life on a 6-month loop. That would also suck.
I was just gonna, it's like
right. I think my answer. I think my answer kind of needs to be the future, because then there's maybe hope that maybe something will be better, or at least it'll be so weird and strange that I'm like, well, I'm just here now, because having it be like, 6 months ago was better, and then now this is terrible, just that cognitive dissonance is really rough, and I don't like it. So I would need to be so far in the future that I'm not like, go back to yesterday, that was good.
I'd have to say future as well, because it's very undetermined, so I'm not sure how far in the past I want to go, and I just want to say, okay, past, get stuck in the 1700s and live a not good life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same boat. I would rather chance it on the future than go back to the past and have to choose between, losing different rights for different people or disease.
Yeah.
Ironically enough. Alright, clicking future, because I think we're all in agreement here. Oh.
I'd love to go to 2 minutes ago, but...
Wait, hold on. Alright, next question. Would you rather have extremely muscular arms or have extremely muscular legs? I don't think I'm allowed to comment on this.
Well, so... Nikki, do you have the genetics I do for the same reason, where we just already have extremely muscular legs and that's just kind of a thing?
I have been dancing.
Did you get that?
I have been dancing and doing martial arts and had swim team for a year. Like, I have been doing physical things that require both arms and legs pretty much all of my life. So I don't actually know how much of that is genetics and how much of that is
Am I going
I
to?
have extremely I have ballerina legs. I have taekwondo legs. So
If it's strengthening one of them but not getting rid of what I have, I would like to add extremely muscular arms. That would be nice. It has been
man,
like because
yeah, that makes
currently
sense.
currently my legs are at the point where I can like hit the outside of my leg and like the muscle doesn't shake, and
Hmm.
I'm extremely excited to be at that point
Okay.
um, in my
And
fitness, and I don't want to lose that, but I would like to add arms.
You
see,
see,
I just have muscle on both. Like I'm not dehydrated. I'm not bodybuilder ripped, but like I regularly at my day job um pull around pallets where the now they're on a pallet jack, so it's not quite this. It's not this much, but I regularly pull pallets that are 1,600 pounds. So
whoa,
Yeah.
like I don't think I get to make a choice. but
I
but Smile Incorporated, which is, can I just say that's a
as
very funny.
cool.
Hold on, David. Uh,
We
just
like that username.
yeah, we want to comment on our watcher. I like your username, and also Smile Incorporated says legs for life. Okay, go David.
I think. Actually, I think I know who that is. I think.
Oh, okay.
I'd take the muscular legs specifically for the fact is if I had really muscular arms and my legs are still kind of shit, then people would go, "Oh, you skipped leg day," and I'd hate to get that for the rest of my life.
You just don't
Like
want
like
the comment.
no, because if I had the muscular legs, because I don't think I get the comment. It's like I think someone would go, "Now you should probably work on your arms," but I don't want to go. Someone's skipping leg day. I'd hate that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as having already having muscular legs, adding arms would be nice, but if not, I'll keep what I have because being I don't want to be top heavy.
Yeah, I'd love the arms.
You
I
don't want to
just
be
don't
Johnny
think.
Bravo.
No, I do not want to be Johnny Bravo. That'd be really terrible. I am ready for the next question. I
All
think,
right. I think we're pretty in agreement on legs.
Yeah, legs,
yeah.
Okay.
legs for life.
Well,
What?
the world does not agree with us. Uh,
Most people said
I
arms.
think
69% said arms, 31% said legs.
That's
I feel like
It's very funny to me.
with arms, I feel like arms
from
are.
your legs. Like, that's.
Okay, the next question. Most people want to be Johnny Bravo.
Mhm.
All right, next question. On a beautiful sunny day, would you rather lie in the grass and read a book or stay inside and watch excellent TV? I did not add that word in there. That it actually says excellent TV. I feel,
Reread it.
I feel like they
I
should
have all
have
these.
flipped this and said, "Would you rather lie in the grass and watch excellent TV or stay inside and read a book?"
Yeah, I'm feeling that because it's like I don't want to be outside. If I'm gonna spend the entire day doing something,
Well, this doesn't say the entire day.
okay, I guess given what I have done in the past on beautiful sunny days. Okay, see, like I have a split between when I and this kind of day was rare. It was like, oh, first chance I get, I'm going outside and reading. Now I live in
Yeah.
Louisiana, and many sunny days pass me by, and I'm like, yeah, it's 80. I'm indoors. So my current answer is going to have to be stay inside and watch excellent TV. But I would rather that this was stay inside and read a book.
Smile Incorporated wants to stay inside. I okay, on a beautiful sunny day, I think it depends on what my outside options are. Because there've been times where I've had the choice to basically stay inside and watch something on my phone or go outside and read, and I have chosen to go outside and read.
Question:
Yeah.
Are you
I think
specifically in the grass, or can you be in a gazebo?
Oh, it says lie in the grass.
lie in the grass.
Okay,
To
lie in
be
the grass.
with
I don't
the
want to lie.
bugs. You already
You
stay
know
inside,
what?
Smile.
You know what?
Sounds about right.
You know what? When I've had to make this choice, I have made the choice to go outside and read a book in the grass. I usually would read underneath a tree.
Yeah.
So actually, yeah, that's my answer.
TV.
Well, on the podcast, that is a 2-1, so we're gonna click lie in the grass. This is pretty
Well,
split. Okay, so 43% said lie in the grass and read a book. 57% said stay inside and watch excellent TV.
ha ha ha.
I
I
do
am
find
not.
it interesting that the word excellent is only there in the TV option.
And it doesn't even say read a good book.
No.
Like that's even a classic phrase, and they don't use it.
Yeah, they just don't.
I feel like
Oh.
this question was biased. You shouldn't count it.
I'm
I'm
skipping
kidding.
this one because I don't think Robin wants to talk about this.
What is the question?
In a boxing match, would you rather lose teeth or have part of your ear bitten off?
We're not doing this
Ooh.
question.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Would you rather? Wait, what? Oh, this one is worded weirdly. It says, "Would you rather 80s child star actor or 60s one-hit wonder?" I think it meant, "Would you rather be?"
Hmm.
Uh.
Okay, 60s one hit wonder. Not because of the decade, it's more because of being a child star actor seems to mess you up more for longer in worse ways than having a hit and then not being a big deal anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I follow that logic. I
One hit wonder meaning it's obvious. So no matter what, it's gonna be gold.
Yeah.
So yeah, 60s one hit wonder.
Yeah, make a bunch of money and then just.
I'd take Adam Westworld and become Batman.
All right. Well, I think we're all in agreement, and we are wrong according to everybody else.
That's because they haven't seen Honeyland. They don't know about the lives of child actors. Just no, thank you. I'm fine being wrong here.
Smile says 60s also. So it seems like both our watcher and also us all agree, but we are 27% of the people who have.
On the other hand, 300,000 people have agreed with us. Not nothing. It's just not the majority.
That's true. Okay. Next question. Would you rather be a character in The Lord of the Rings or be a character in Harry Potter? Now,
Lord of the Rings. And the reason is the Harry Potter economy makes no sense.
Lord of the Rings kind of terrible. A chance of being corrupted by the One Ring and turning into Gollum.
Well, yeah, but in Harry Potter, you can get just murdered by someone saying literally 2 words.
I mean, that's not different in Lord of the Rings.
No, in Lord of the Rings, it's a good, honest, magical sword. It's much better.
Not necessarily.
Robin,
I wouldn't want to live in either of these fantasy universes. I've just done enough thinking about how terrible the economy is in Harry Potter and how much it doesn't work and how the system, like, what jobs do they have when they grow up other than just being magical cops? Yes?
Very specific question. Does it say specifically that you are a wizard?
No.
Or witch?
No. Be a muggle in Harry Potter.
I could be a muggle and never know about it, and I'd be fine with that.
Okay, you just want to be...
You just want to be a person and sidestep the everything.
Honestly, I'm fine with that. I'm not saying I wouldn't want to be a wizard. I'm just saying, one, there's no way you're not going to see mystics. One, you could see it, not be aware of it, and be okay with it.
Okay, you know what? I'll take that.
Robin, can I put this forward?
You convinced me. If I can be a muggle in Harry Potter and do literally what I'm already doing now, that sounds amazing. Robin, as long as I don't have to be part of their terrible economy. Yes?
Counterpoint. You could be part of the Rohirrim.
Ooh, nope. Lord of the Rings. I gotta be
a horse warlord.
Or an elf. Like, it's one of those two.
I'm just saying, like... I feel like
I could hook you in with the horse job.
I would want to be Elrond. I say this not having read the Silmarillion, to be clear. So I don't know if there's stuff in there that will make this answer not as good. But I just want to be...
I have read the Silmarillion. It's a
best hair, amazing expressions. kind of glares at everybody all the time. It doesn't matter. It's really great. I want to be able to.
You see, for me, something that I think about, just thinking about Hogwarts in general is I feel like the adults should keep the wands under lock and key, and like give the kids when they need to practice, but like for general safety, just give them a gun.
But that doesn't work. There's
That's
canonically a
that's
thing where magic messes with electricity and
it's
messes
not
with
not
mechanics.
electricity.
David,
No electricity, but that doesn't you don't get electricity gun.
but canonically guns don't work in the magic laden areas.
So give them a knife. That's safer than what they have in their hands.
All right, I'm ready for the next question.
Yeah.
I
Alright,
feel like
I have no desire to be in Harry Potter where magic vaguely works along certain lines, kind of a little bit. It's pretty much if you can describe it in Latin, you can make it work. I would rather be in Lord of the Rings. And we're wrong again, according... Okay, 37% said Lord of the Rings, 63% said Harry Potter. But also, Harry Potter, I would argue, probably has just more of a cult...
There's story about how war is terrible that is mostly an excuse to show off multiple conlangs. Why wouldn't you want to be there? But, okay.
Shotgun noises.
Alright,
okay, next question. Okay. Would you rather be in jail for 60 years or die?
I want to skip this question. I feel like this is not a good question. Literally,
would you rather perform petty thievery for a living or perform grand larceny for a living? This is just, would you rather be rich or poor when you do your thieving?
So the question is,
specified about whether you get away with it?
Yeah,
well,
look in the description.
It says for a living,
Nikki,
so I would argue that you have to get away with it to make
Look
it.
in the description. Look in the
Grand
description.
larceny.
What do you mean description?
Below it, before you hit the comments, there might be a description. Is there?
Oh, no.
That's important. No?
No.
Oh. Well, then grand larceny, obviously.
Yeah, grand larceny. Because petty thievery means you're stealing from people who don't have very much money, generally.
Yeah.
Grand larceny means that you could, like, hit big corporate targets and then just leave.
Smile?
Screw over Trump and Jeff Bezos.
Smile, are you okay? Because I saw that comment. You doing all right?
Yeah, grand
Grand
larceny.
larceny. Yeah, people agree with us this time. 62%. We keep getting the... Okay. Would you rather be Napoleon or be Julius Caesar?
Napoleon.
Why?
Island of Elba for like a bunch of time.
Oh, fair enough.
Instead of being stabbed by a bunch of your friends, and also
by 32 out of 60 people.
I was gonna say, yeah, he had like more people who agreed to stab him than stab wounds, which means not everybody did the group project.
I don't know enough about these. I don't know enough about these historical figures to make that big of an impact. But see, Smiley says Julius.
Okay, person who lived for a really long time and had a bunch of attempts at a thing and it didn't quite work, and then he died when he was older, or a person who got stabbed very dramatically, kind of in his prime.
All right, Napoleon.
After pissing off all of his friends.
Oh, that's the best way to go.
39% agreed with us. 61% said Julius Caesar. 61% agreed with Smile. Ooh, this is the same. These are the same thing. Would you rather be able to survive any injury or fall, or be able to pull out any Acme Corporation product out of your pocket? This is the same answer.
No, because it's, are you inflicting it, or are you able to survive the Acme product? That's what this sounds like.
Wait, what?
Well, you're saying that they're the same thing.
Being
There's
able to survive any injury or fall, or be able to pull any Acme Corporation product out of your pocket.
it's kind of like a different means to a similar end. But like
Yeah,
Acme Corporation
that would be
products.
them being the same result thing.
No, what I mean is that with the Acme Corporation product, you can do stuff to other people. With surviving any injury or fall, it's just you. The emphasis is different.
I
To
mean,
me, these are very different answers, but I see how they end up having
I
similar
do
things.
injury or fall just to scare my scoutmasters.
I definitely would pick being able to survive any injury or fall.
Just imagine that
Okay.
as you're camping, I'm gonna jump off this cliff, guys.
I'm a little bit leery about the emphasis on survive, though.
that was what was getting me, because
Oh crap! I didn't think about that.
survival doesn't mean you'll ever recover or be able to move again or speak or
Well,
think,
I mean,
or you can be alive and be brain dead, and that is technically surviving.
potato, tomato. No.
But I already clicked
Then
that
then
one. 76% of
then
people said be
all
able
right.
to
Then the
survive.
corporation. Then
24% said pull out any Acme Corporation product.
yeah, I'd rather do corporation then.
Would you rather live an average life and be forgotten in time, or go down in history for something terrible? Definitely just be forgotten.
Yep, average
Forgotten.
life be forgotten.
I'm already forgotten.
Well, that's not true. Statistically untrue, David, but still.
No, definitely rather be
Definitely rather
average
be
than
average.
forgotten. Yeah.
68% of people agree with us. Wow. 500,000 people would rather go down in history for something terrible. Good to know.
So you're causing the rates in Alaska.
You're the reason that we are still under quarantine. People. Would you rather be Rosa Parks or be Harriet Tubman?
Ooh.
I don't understand. This one seems...
This one
I don't like
seems
this question.
this feels like we only know about 2 black women. Which
Well,
one do you want to be? And that seems a little off.
This is not an equal comparison.
It is not at all.
Like, not even a little bit.
Skip it.
Alright,
yeah, answering it feels bad.
For a second, I was about to be like, ooh, but then I thought about the implications.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you rather only be able to speak via translator, or only speak when asked a question?
Am I guaranteed a translator?
That is an excellent question, and I don't know.
And do you mean a device, or like just like another being who you can only communicate with, and they translate everything?
I would much rather only be able to speak via a translator, especially given that those are easily accessible, and while it might be frustrating, it would not be nearly as frustrating as being only able to express myself at someone else's whim for every sentence.
This only says speak. Nothing
This is
said
true.
about writing or texting.
Yeah.
Or signing.
But of the two, for speaking specifically, I would rather have to have a translator.
Even a translator is still speaking at someone else's whim, technically.
Well, I would be unable to ever start a conversation if it was the question one.
That's not true. You can tap somebody on the shoulder, and when they say, "What do you want?" you can say whatever it is. I'm just saying there's other ways to...
There's workarounds, but mentally, what I would need to do in order to do the translator thing feels less cumbersome. I understand that they both require workarounds.
I would rather only speak when asked a question.
Really?
Really. Because able to speak via translator does not guarantee accuracy, and I would rather have control over the words that happen when I am able to speak. And also, like I said, this says nothing about writing or typing, or if you want to get semantics up in here, there are other ways I could communicate without speaking.
Yeah.
Hi, Princess. Our senior assistant editor has come to sit on my lap. Come here, baby. Come hang out. She wants to be part of the stream. Can you
Yeah,
scream?
Smile Inc. You can probably scream
Yeah. That's
while
not
anyone would
speaking,
understand what
technically.
you're saying, but you can, yeah.
Gotta get that daredevil roar.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of someone else having control over how my words are translated. I just don't like that. Which one am I clicking on? Because I think everybody else said translator, and I'm the only one who didn't. Click
I think
translator.
translator.
No,
58,
translator.
58% said translator, 42% said speak when asked a question.
Mm.
Would you rather be a wizard or be a vampire?
Vampire.
Nice
Wizard.
scream, smile. I would. I. Oh man. Okay, here's the thing.
Just no question. Vampire.
This question doesn't say what the rules are for either, like what mythos are we going off of for either of these two things. Like for example, if we're going off of D&D rules, I would much rather be a wizard. If we're going off of like pop fiction and the question is Harry Potter versus Twilight, I would also rather be a wizard. But if we're going off of like modern world mythos, I would rather be a vampire.
There are. I'd rather be a wizard because the other implications of being a werewolf, being not werewolf, sorry, vampire would suck. Like you can't see yourself, you can't go outside in daylight unless you have some kind of protection.
David, you just can't live
Counterpoint.
But here's
Counterpoint.
Here's the thing, David. All of like those things have specific causes. So like the mirror thing is not just mirrors. It's not just that you can't see yourself. It's that you can't interact with silver. Modern mirrors are not made out of silver. You could see yourself in modern mirrors. If you go off of mythos.
Yeah. And as someone who systematically compared vampire and werewolf, which means I read a whole bunch of vampire and werewolf books, yeah, I would much rather be a vampire, especially if I have literally any say in which mythos applies. Even if I had say in which mythos applies for being a wizard, I would still rather be a vampire.
Yeah, like if we're going real world mythos, I would pick a real world vampire mythos. But if we're going with like either, like I said, either D&D or pop culture, I would probably choose wizard. It literally just depends on how you're framing, what rules you're going by for both of them.
Well, that's true, but for me, I'd still be wizard.
Okay, fair enough.
I could do so much more with wizard. Like I could heal people.
Well, vampires can heal people if you turn them.
I don't want to turn someone.
Mythos have vampire blood having healing properties.
Yeah.
I don't want to heal people by biting them.
No, you don't have to bite them. You just bleed into them.
I
don't want to do that either. That sounds very unsanitary. I'd rather just cast some spells.
But what if you're a wizard without healing spells?
Am I outnumbered? Did both of you want wizard?
Oh, I said it depends. It fully depends on the categories.
I actively want vampire, no matter what the
David
categories
actively
are.
wants wizard. Okay. Smile, you're gonna be our tiebreaker because you said wizard. We're gonna click wizard, and just to see what the percentages are. Wow, 79% said wizard, 21% said vampire.
And the
Robin,
79% is wrong. It's okay. I understand.
Oh my gosh, I know my clear-cut answer to the next one. Oh, wait, maybe not. It says, in an unlucky survival situation, would you rather go swimming with sharks or go swimming with alligators? Can I pick what species of shark?
Nurse shark. I will swim with a nurse shark anytime.
Yeah, exactly.
Sounds great.
But I mean, you won't survive it.
Well, that doesn't say that. It just says an unlucky situation.
Oh.
Unlucky survival
so what if you don't get killed at it, but while you're in the water you hit your head as you try and get out?
Okay, shark, because I'd rather die from a clean bite than die from being spun to death.
Same.
Whoa. Alright.
Yeah, alligators thrash their head around to hurt their prey.
Yeah, they don't chew, so they like grab and then they wildly fling things from side to smash them until they're dead. And I don't want to go out like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, swim with sharks, swim with a whale shark.
Smiley
has a good idea there.
Oh yeah, whale shark is good.
I almost mentioned whale sharks. I would just be worried about being accidentally swallowed. Like, I know they wouldn't
Yeah.
Do it
me, but
Worth
their
intentionally.
it.
mouths are huge.
So yeah,
No,
whale
I'm.
shark, nurse shark. If I can pick my shark, I would go with shark.
I'll do shark.
Yeah.
Shark's cool.
Because the difference is sharks aren't actively trying to eat people. Alligators don't care and are totally fine with purposefully eating people.
Yeah. 71% said shark, 29% said alligators. There really is kind of a trend of it being like a 2-to-1
Mm-hmm.
in these percentages, and there's some that are more even, but no, we're skipping this question. Okay. Anyways,
All right.
what the heck? I don't want to talk about this one either. I'm just skipping these because I don't want to have those conversations. Okay. All right. Okay. This is good. Would you rather relive a specific moment or recreate a random moment? Okay.
Oh.
That's okay.
Another word. Sorry, I'm looking at the stream and saw the ones you're not answering. So I'm like, nope. Not.
Yeah.
Oh my god, these are
I
dark.
feel like recreating a random moment would be interesting, but I think I would need to go ahead and pick relive a specific moment because I've had enough very bad moments fraction wise in my life that I don't want to randomly have one of those.
Yeah,
I
I would
wouldn't.
rather get to choose what the moment is. I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
with
because I don't want to be like, oh boy, random, and then find myself getting yelled at by people.
or just like sick and in the bathroom, like
Sick in the bathroom,
like
you
there's
know,
so many
and a
bad
jiu-jitsu match,
randoms. Even like
in a
normal,
jiu-jitsu match with the black belt.
yeah, even like normal everyday random moments where like they're not terrible, but
Yeah.
but you don't want to relive them for no reason.
Yeah, it's like I had no problem going up against my my instructor Chad, but if someone said, "Hey David, you want to do it on this random Tuesday?" I'd say, "No, get out of my apartment."
All right, so we all said relive.
Yeah,
so
relive.
I clicked relive. 62% of people agree with us. Hi, princess. Okay, I feel like David, you had this one come up as a question before. Would you rather be rich or be famous?
Oh yeah, I have had this one before. Rich.
Rich.
Famous does not mean you have a lot of money. It just means that people want your attention.
I would rather be rich, and
Yeah,
especially
rich.
if I'm not famous, because then
Yeah,
I can just do things that are like good
you could go to
choices
the
without
grocery
having
store and
to
buy.
like.
You can go to stores, buy whatever you want without budgeting, and not have people harass you.
Or even I could just help people without it being a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, I would much rather have that one. I would much rather be Batman than Bruce Wayne. Let's go with
Yeah.
that.
Oh my god.
To give you a David analogy. And Smile agrees with us. All right, we're clicking.
Batman is kind of famous as well. But honestly,
that was the joke there. The Batman is or that. Well, but he's anonymous is the thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Kind of.
As anonymous as you can be when you drive around in a tank.
Either.
Whoa, I didn't understand either of what you two said. Because that was at the same time.
As famous as infamous as a person can be when they drive a tank.
Oh yeah. Well, 78% of people agree.
Nice.
Okay, would you rather eat only KFC for a month or eat only Taco Bell for a month?
Taco Bell.
That was a quick answer.
I love the Colonel, but I would die. At least, I feel like you get more of a vegetable option when you go to Taco Bell.
Oh yeah, Taco Bell literally has any vegetables.
Or be famous under.
I guess when I haven't had KFC in at least 5 years, and I have had Taco Bell, that probably points to Taco Bell being slightly better.
It's not that I don't. Smiley disagrees. It's not that I don't like. It's not that I don't like KFC. I love KFC. I'm sorry, but I would die.
Okay, so here's the wild thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Before moving to Illinois and specifically moving up to the Chicagoland area, I would probably have said KFC, but now that I have lived here where they have chicken that actually tastes much better than KFC. I haven't eaten KFC basically since I moved here. So I would have to go to Taco Bell because I don't want KFC's chicken. Like, if this was a question of, like, Sharks versus Taco Bell, I would say Sharks and go with the chicken. But it's not.
Mm.
So I choose Taco Bell.
Some of the best chicken I've ever had was, I mean, and it wouldn't apply for this since it's KFC that's not sold in the US.
Oh.
I had it because of the job that I worked where it was product testing.
Oh.
And so I got to taste the KFC that they make for overseas where they're not worried about the sodium content. And it was one of the best things I have ever eaten. It was amazing.
See, I
get to actually have salt in your food. Appreciate your KFC because it is tastier than what we have here.
I love chicken, but fried is not my favorite type of chicken.
Hey, David.
Yeah?
Are you hitting your hands on your desk?
I did for a second, sorry.
When you do that, your whole microphone reverberates, and I cannot edit it out in the live stream.
Yeah, sorry.
For a lot of reasons. So, okay. All right. So what was our vote? I said Taco Bell. David said Taco Bell.
I said Taco Bell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Taco Bell.
Cool.
Smiley very much disagrees with us.
Yeah. Hey, Smiley, if you're ever in the Chicago area, you should get Shark's chicken and get lemon pepper on it. It's good.
Write this down.
Right. 44% said Taco Bell.
So that one's pretty close.
Okay, this is a child question. Would you rather have 2 sets of twins or quadruplets?
Can I not? None of this.
Do we want to skip this one?
Yeah, I want to skip this one because my answer is I am never getting pregnant, and if I have kids, it'll be adoption.
I didn't read this as you had to be pregnant. I read this as like caring for. Like I would rather care for 2 sets of twins.
Yeah.
Nope. Skipping that one.
I feel bad for the mom who had quadruplets.
Skipping that one too. Jesus. No, that one's body horror. Let's not do that.
I gotta know what it is.
Okay. Would you rather meet Chuck Norris or meet the Old Spice Man? I would rather meet the Old Spice Man, please.
I would rather meet the Old Spice Man.
Oh my god, that'd be so cool. Remember when he went to Hulu?
Yeah.
Look up, now down. Now look at me. Now turn around. Now you're outside.
Yeah.
Those were amazing commercials. It would be really fun to meet him.
So.
Oh my god.
37% said meet the Old Spice Man.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why? Like, not that he created the commercial or anything, but like, still,
so cool.
That sounds so much more fun.
I mean, I'm trying to remember the actor's name right now because I greatly respect him as a person.
Smiley disagrees with Chuck Norris with us again.
Norris.
Yeah, he's like Chuck Norris. Yeah.
Apparently, he is Isaiah Mustafa.
Okay. Yeah. You good? All right. Next question. This one of these is attainable. Would you rather be able to run 40 miles an hour or own a car?
I
was gonna say like. Owning a car is an achievable dream. Alright, let me put it this way. I don't want to have to run 40 miles an hour for multiple hours in a row to get to work and home every day.
Yeah, I think own a car, because being able to run 40 miles an hour, there is no safe place to do that. Either I'm messing up people on the sidewalk, or I'm going to get hit by a car.
Yeah.
I'd rather own a car, simply because, one, I don't own a car, and second of all, it's like being able to run a few 40 miles an hour doesn't mean it is at all easy. It doesn't mean that it's a breeze. It means you can do it.
And this question implies that if you have to choose, so if you can run 40 miles an hour, you can't own a car. That literally
Yeah.
means that I would have to run to work and home for multiple hours every day.
And it's not like you're the Flash and you don't feel it because it's just how your body works now.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
you're
no, you would take. Yeah. Wow.
so like you have to put that
62%.
much more effort into it.
62% would rather just run. 38% said own a car.
I think they're not thinking about the full implication about how your body would feel.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of salt, would you rather eat all your meals where the food is freezing cold, or eat all your meals with 5 tablespoons of salt poured on it?
Cold.
Cold.
I don't like either of these options.
Like, both of them are bad, but there are frozen foods I like that are fine. There is no food where I'd like it with 5 tablespoons of salt poured on it.
I think.
Just a spoonful of salt helps the medicine go down.
That's fair. All right.
Eat.
65% said cold.
Yeah, it's good. You can eat things cold. Smiley would rather have the salt. Ooh.
You do you, but I disagree.
Oh man,
Having cooked with too much salt before, it's not a good time.
Yeah, it's very much it overpowers everything and anything.
I feel like I might be able to acclimate to the salt. I don't think I would ever acclimate to everything being cold. I think I would just stop eating. I might stop eating if everything was salt too, though. I don't know. Alright. No way around death. Would you rather be president but then be impeached after 3 weeks, or have complete power over the world and then get killed after 3 weeks?
President and then impeached, because
then
what would life. There's nothing that I could do in 3 weeks over the world that would make it worth. Overall, I don't really like this question very much.
All right, moving on to the next one.
Smiley doesn't care about
this one's nice and simple. Would you rather live in Boston or live in New York City?
Be somewhere where no one knows how to drive properly, or be somewhere where no one knows how to drive.
Okay.
Well, you see, I did.
I mean, in New York City, you don't have to because of public transportation.
I did live in New York for a bit there.
And yeah.
But you were not in New York City.
Well, I was in New York City. That is true, but
You were not in the area that would give you a good New York City perspective on
I know.
Okay.
I don't have enough information to pick this one, because I just have anecdotes for both of them, and what's been described to me about living in those two places are ways that it's negative.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like I have enough information.
Makes sense. All right, moving on then.
Not a good one.
No, we're gonna skip the body horror one also. Okay. Would you rather be a famous rapper or be a notorious mobster?
Mobster? No, I'm kidding.
No, yeah, mobster actually.
Yeah.
See, okay.
You know how the Italian suits I'd owned? Oh my god.
I feel like, okay, given the way that these questions tend to be framed, I'm concerned that the question is racist. Because it feels like it's saying in both of these things where you might die, which one do you want? Like, I hope that's not why they've picked these two items to compare, but it feels like what might be happening, and it feels icky.
It feels... I didn't even consider that. To me, it felt like it was like, which era of history do you want to be famous in?
Oh, for like, which era of history and what kind of fame do you want? Then maybe rapper, but I'm concerned about why these two got paired.
Okay, then let's move on. Would you only listen to the Beatles or only listen to the Rolling Stones?
Can I just not turn on music?
Nope.
Okay, so I know a couple of Beatles songs. I cannot name a single Rolling Stones song.
Same.
I guess Beatles?
I'd say probably Rolling Stones because the
I
Beatles songs that I have heard I didn't particularly care for.
see.
So
Third party. I'd rather listen to Queen.
That's not an option though.
I know, but
no,
just
Queen would be great. That would be amazing.
yeah.
Oh, Smile doesn't like an answer. What's your answer, Smile? I'm waiting for the.
Yeah, we're gonna wait on Smile.
I just want to know.
Ah!
Oh, not it.
Hmm. Well, I definitely
Yeah.
Oh, Queen. Oh, okay.
yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well, Robin said Rolling Stones, so I'm just gonna click that one.
No, she said.
No, I said Rolling
Beatles.
Stones.
Yeah.
You said Rolling Stones. Oh,
Yeah.
61% said Beatles. 39% said Rolling Stones. Man, we are in the minority today.
It's
Oh
alright.
man,
I'm always in the minority.
Would you rather constantly stumble when walking, or constantly stutter when speaking? I would rather constantly stutter.
Stutter because
Um,
I feel like I have a better chance of tripping if I'm.
Yeah, I feel like stuttering is not going to give me an injury.
Okay,
It
good
depends who you
point.
talk to.
No, David.
Isn't stutter spelled with T's?
I don't have a clue. This looks fine to me, but my brain doesn't care.
Yeah, stutter is spelled with T's.
Stutter.
I would rather stutter.
Yeah.
40% said stutter, 60% said stumble. See, I just really feel like constantly stumbling is setting you up to fall and get hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one. Would you rather teach history or teach math?
Math.
Math.
Yeah, I have taught
Math. You got
That was
math. You
great.
gotta teach people. Math. You gotta teach people like the principles and how to get to the answer. With history, you gotta teach them names and dates and all that other shit.
I was a math TA. That was great.
I did tutoring as
Smiley's
math.
already stutter. Stutter.
You already
No,
stutter? Oh, okay.
Well, makes this easy.
Right. Math it is. We are also in the... Okay. 60% said history, 40% said math.
Why people hate on math? I mean, I understand, but why?
You hated on math until like 2 years ago. I'm skipping that question.
I think maybe history has that feeling of like, I'll be fine. I've lived through stuff. I can do that. But math can feel more unapproachable. That might be part of what's going on, even though history is very complicated if you're teaching it right.
I mean,
full disclosure, in homeschooling our lovely guest here, I literally any math question that he's ever had that I've helped him with, I've been like, all right, let's go. And I'm still working out how to approach history because I'm so much less comfortable with teaching it. So like math, 100%. Yeah. Okay. If you
had to play a board game every single day, would you rather play Risk or Monopoly?
You had to play it. I would play Risk.
If you had to play it, I would play Monopoly because it would be over faster.
Monopoly is over faster than Risk?
I've never played Risk. Risk is kind of like Civ. Civ takes forever.
If I played Monopoly every day, currently
is
I'd
Risk
have to...
faster than Civ? Or Risk faster than Monopoly?
I believe so.
Okay. Whichever one of them takes less time.
Okay, here's my answer. I'm gonna have to say Risk, though I've never played the game. I can only assume, because it's on a daily basis, that it's with my family, and that would tear us apart.
Yeah, either one of them would be bad.
I'm gonna posit something. It says play. It doesn't say finish a game every day.
Mm-hmm.
So you could literally do a turn in one of these every day and then move on with your life.
Oh yeah,
you know how many times we cuss each other out during Monopoly?
Risk.
I would rather play Risk because then I'm making real decisions.
Yeah. You know how many times my family's cussed each other out during Monopoly?
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
As part of your family, I do know. because I get texts from 3 people whenever you play.
Yeah, there's
I
no.
literally get like I literally
We
get
might as well be
messages from
sending up
Danny, you, and
flares or bat
Taylor.
signals. It's like anytime Monopoly game starts,
Oh
it's
my
like the
gosh.
sky rumbles and your phone blows up with notifications.
I literally would get Taylor messages and then David messages and then mom messages every
Yeah,
time you guys played Monopoly, about 20 minutes apart.
yeah,
So, yeah, I do
that would
actually know how much you guys yelled at each other. All right, it
forget
sounds
being
like
different
we're
people.
kind of in agreement on risk, though.
Yeah,
All right, 32% said risk, 68% said Monopoly. Oh my goodness.
It's probably just more people played Monopoly and they're like, I know what that is.
Yeah. Mm, this is one I don't think we're qualified to know have an opinion. Uh, okay.
which is can I know? Can you tell me the question though?
Oh, it was a football question.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, I don't know anything about that.
I don't
If you
like
were
I
forced,
vaguely.
this is a weird one. I don't know if we want to do this one. If you were forced to live in one for the rest of your life, would you rather live in South Africa or Kenya?
This question feels bad.
Okay, skipping.
And yeah.
Oh, we already had this one.
I don't like it phrasing as forced to live in one of
Yeah,
2 African countries. That feels racist.
yeah, fair enough. Would you rather only eat or only drink? I would
Mm,
rather only drink. Smoothies for days.
hmm. I'm thinking.
Yeah, only drink in and because I've blended up my vegetables to try and drink them before. It is terrible, but I could get through it.
Yep, probably only drink, but I don't really like those.
45% said only drink, 55% said only eat.
Hmm.
Would you rather have no family or have no friends?
Bye.
Aw, we got you choosing friends over us. We're literally doing this with
Why
family.
can't we be friends?
Yeah, we
Right.
could be friends. We just wouldn't be family anymore.
Oh,
And
okay.
that,
That's fair.
yeah, you could just be people I'm not related to that I'm friends with.
Yeah, okay. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I'd rather friends are the
Oh,
family you
nope, skipping
choose.
that. Some
Friends
of
are the
these are
family
really
you choose.
awful. Oh my god. Would you rather eat a cup of baking soda and then do a shot of vinegar, or eat a pack of Mentos and then chug a Diet Coke? Mentos and Diet
uh,
Coke, because if I'm gonna like
nope, the
fill
shot.
everything up, I don't want vinegar taste.
The shot because it doesn't have anything. Oh wait, no, eat the cup. Oh, I was just gonna hold it in my mouth.
No, eat a cup of baking soda.
Uh,
I choose Mentos and Diet
okay, this
Coke.
feels like it was okay. Mentos and Diet Coke because MythBusters says it won't bust my stomach.
Yeah, and I do not want to taste vinegar.
But also, I'm gonna
Friends are
probably have
family.
to.
I agree with you, Smile.
It'll be very, very terrible for me after I have that Diet Coke because the caffeine is going to
You could do decaf.
mess me up.
Hello, Jeff Richardson. What's up? How's it going?
What's up? Is I posted in my Bambino that this was happening. So, thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Um, all right.
We've had some wild ones. We've also skipped a bunch that are bad. Vinegar is so much safer. But see, the thing is, the taste of the vinegar might make me throw up anyway.
You know what? Hmm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, MythBusters had an episode and they tested it, and basically, it's not a great idea, but if I remember the episode I watched a decade ago correctly, it won't make your stomach explode. They said that was a myth.
Okay.
Yeah, because they did a whole bunch, like, you would not be okay, but it won't it won't burst. But no, the caffeine would mess me up more than the Mentos being involved. I would not be very okay at all. I'd
Alright.
probably be paranoid for a very long time.
So I said Mentos. Robin says baking soda.
I
Is
think
that
for my
right?
health, I might need to say the baking soda and vinegar because the caffeine is going to be the problem for me.
Okay. So then, David, which one would you rather do?
I'm the tiebreaker.
Yep. Pick your fave.
I'm gonna say the vinegar.
Oh,
And,
gross.
and the and the reason I say that is because I don't remember the baking soda and vinegar shot experiment. I do remember the Diet Coke experiment.
But oh, that's because we didn't do baking soda and vinegar yet.
I think we did.
No, we didn't because I specifically want to get baking soda where you can free a Han Solo carbonite figure.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
That's a plan for his chemistry experiments.
Like and also I've had a shot of vinegar, so.
Man, that vinegar would legitimately make me throw up by like
Oh no,
anyway.
it did for me still, but still.
Jeez. Speaking of traumatizing one's characters, do you read Stephen King?
Also, my gag reflex is so strong. I don't think it would get close enough to the baking soda.
It's the same. Yeah.
I just eventually I'd spit it out and then be spewing powder.
Man, same. So we have read I have read some Stephen King.
I have not read any.
I actually own Cujo. Um yeah, like I've actually owned Cujo because that was given to me by a friend in high school. It's okay. Like
Really, the main reason we're not reading Stephen King is it's not YA. And we're not only reading YA, but we're really trying to focus there. Since our podcast is trying to like warn people about trauma in books, if we pick the book that everyone knows as the go-to for really traumatic stuff, it doesn't feel like we're needed there. So maybe on Stephen King eventually, we just haven't yet because we've been interested in other stuff a little bit more.
I mean, I think that looking at, especially if we get into more horror books, I think Stephen King would be a good one to like pick one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've read some of Stephen King, but I also don't tend to really read very much horror just because most of the time like it's not scary and I just don't get that thrill from it, I guess. But it also depends on what it is. And so
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cujo
You
is
see,
your first one? Yeah, that makes sense.
for the would you rather, I'd rather be
Good.
a hometown hero.
You'd rather be hometown hero? I would rather. I don't know. I don't want to be a hero to people that know me in real life. I guess so. I guess the C-level celebrity. I don't know. This is.
But I'd much rather be loved and admired by people I know, because I'd feel it more than just random people.
That's fair, but like
I don't like any of this being famous where like no one likes me. Like I don't want it to I kind of rather have people like locally be like, "Oh yeah, that person, they're great," than have like a bunch of people kind of know about me and be unhappy. So I would rather be hometown hero.
Yeah, hometown hero.
okay, I could see that. All right,
Oh.
you were like 10. Oh yeah, totally. Most people want to be a hometown hero. 89%. Ooh. Would you rather have to skip instead of walk or run at all times? Or sprint everywhere you normally walk, jog, or run to? I choose skip.
Skip. Not the question, the answer. I'd rather skip.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Mm,
I would rather skip. Skipping is. I would rather skip instead of sprint. Let's go with that.
I think sprinting would be better for my knees, so I'd have to pick that.
Yeah. Sprinting is actually awful on knees statistically. Skipping is is safer.
Skipping is better?
Skipping is
Okay.
better. Skipping is better.
Guess I'll build up my wind.
Both. You think that sprinting would be more difficult? Like you think that you wouldn't need to build up wind to sprint? That's a young person's question.
Yeah, this is a young person's question.
I mean, yes, by default.
Like I
okay.
I run regularly as part of workouts for Derby, and then when I want to work on my wind, I skip. As a way of quickly getting to work on my wind without having to exercise for as long.
That is a wild answer to me. Because so I have exercise induced asthma.
Oh, I do not.
It's very super mild. It pretty much only shows up with like running. And maybe sometimes jump rope. Sprinting would make my lungs be very upset with me. It does. It makes my lungs upset with me, and I just kind of ignore it and go on anyway because a very long history of things. Skipping has never ever once made me even breathe hard.
Yeah.
So the idea that sprinting is something you do all the time and skipping is something you use to work on your air, that's a wild answer to me. Oh, okay, that makes yeah. But also like and that being said, like I have reasons to skip. Like it's not like me thinking back 10 years ago that skipping never was a thing, never was a problem. Like no, I spent like 4 years teaching little kids, and skipping is a motion that little kids can do, teaching dance to little kids, and skipping is a motion that like toddlers can work on. And so I would actually like skip weekly for a while. And I've never once even had to think about my breathing skipping ever.
Yeah.
But
skip could work.
You want Smile's answer? Oh, on the skipping?
Yeah.
If they give it, we'll have it. All right.
So how do we shake out with this one? Robin would rather sprint. I would rather skip.
I'm okay with skip. Thinking about it, I'm fine with us answering skip.
Oh, okay. David, what's your answer?
Skip. Oh my god.
Okay.
I get soda breath when I run.
Okay. 41% said skip. 59% said sprint.
This might have to be my last question.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Would you rather lick the floor at a club or lick the toilet seat at Walmart? Can we skip this question? Because I don't want either of those.
Skip. Please.
I'm skipping this question.
Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather be able to freeze time for 1 hour every 24 hours or be able to replicate one thing per day that disappears after 24 hours? I would rather freeze time.
Yeah, freeze time.
Yeah, freezing time sounds good. Especially if I don't have to do it.
Yes, like you'd be able, yeah.
Because, okay, so what this is do you want Midnighters or some other weird thing? And I want Midnighters by Scott Westerfeld. Awesome trilogy. Definitely worth reading. I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Alright, so freezing, I think we're all in agreement on freezing. 76% said freeze time.
But that's also, if you could replicate one thing per day, if you replicated $100 bill, you could wreck some major financial damage.
Disappears after 24 hours.
Right, after you buy something with it.
This is a psychotic question. Freeze time? Okay.
Yeah, freeze time. Oh, good. Most people disagree with it. Most people agree with us.
We have, yeah, which a lot of these we've been the minority vote.
You could have like 25 hours in your day. That's awesome.
Oh, I would just have more time when I'm awake.
It's the premise of Midnighters. So good.
All right, so David, you're tapping out. It's been an hour for you.
Yeah, I'm tapping out.
All right.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.
All
right. Bye, David.
Bye, David. Ooh, replicated a fancy car. That'd be interesting.
Well, if it replicated the license plate, you could again, you could wreak a lot of damage with this, but yeah, the freezing time thing. I'm glad that's what we picked.
Robin, do
Yes.
we want to keep going with Would You Rather, or do we want to switch over to some of our other questions? Doesn't matter to me.
I'd say let's do a couple of our questions and then finish off with Would You Rather. That sounds
Okay.
best.
Give me 1 second, audience.
Pulling up Q&A questions. Probably the easiest way to include them. Oh, I guess maybe. They're gone.
Who's gone?
Oh, sorry. I thought you had stepped away from your computer for a second when
Oh.
you said give me a second.
Oh
I don't know
no,
why I
just
thought
give
that.
me a second to do some digital things.
It went so silent and there was like a clatter, so I thought you
Spooky.
had stepped away.
No, that was me picking up my keyboard.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see. Did this. Okay, good. Alright.
Or getting the way to show the question window.
Yes, exactly. Alright.
All right.
What question would we like to start with?
Since I guess maybe we didn't talk about this last time, what made us decide to do this podcast or what prompted the idea for it?
Okay.
Oops. What well, I'd wanted to do a book review podcast, and I had previously made an attempt episodes with a different one of our siblings, but we didn't have any connecting thread between it. We didn't have a thesis. We didn't have ways to pick what we should discuss. I was editing the audio, which was a disaster, and so that kind of fizzled out. So I wanted to do a book review podcast. And then Nicole came to me with the idea for the topic, which was discussing fictional depictions of trauma. And I was like, yes, that sounds amazing. Because the way I approach it is with like trying to pick what we're talking about is I want us to be a way for people to either discuss trauma in a book from a perspective other than characters hurting characters, because really the characters didn't do anything. The author decided that something was going to happen. To be a way for someone to kind of scope out a book before they read it and get an idea of what's in it and what, not that we're going to catch every trigger anyone might have, but like kind of hitting like the biggest ones in each book. Because I have gotten unpleasantly surprised by books that partway through just have a sexual assault and then the plot just expects you to keep going like it didn't even happen. And I'm like, what? No, this was terrible. Why did you do that? What's going on? And we haven't covered books like that yet on the podcast, but the existence of those kind of books were definitely in my mind in like why I wanted to do it. So why?
So the original idea for this, I actually was listening to another podcast that I highly recommend. And I can get you that actual, I can get you the actual podcast name. It's an Animorphs podcast where they read a book every week and then just kind of talked about that book.
Oh, was it Fandalites?
It was. That's it.
Okay.
That's the name.
Yeah.
Fandalites is great. They went all the way through the series once. They didn't do any of like the extra megamorphs or alternamorphs or anything.
Yeah.
And I found myself, so that series is full of a lot of different kinds of trauma,
Yeah.
And it's also full of like some really good depictions. Actually, like, okay, so in the comments, Jeff Richardson, you're saying, you know, why do people not show the horrible side effects? That is a reoccurring theme in a lot of books where not just for sexual assault, but just like trauma in general, their characters will just go through something and it's just a plot point and there's never them dealing with it. There's no repercussions. There's no acknowledgement of the fact that it's horrific.
Like, we launched our podcast with the Old Kingdom books because that handles it well. It's
Yeah.
books about how to deal with death and dying because it is a fact.
Yeah.
And like, the lesson in the first book is, let me go. I am dead.
Yeah.
It'll be okay. You can keep going.
Yeah, and I found so and then Animorphs is another one where they do actually process. Well, it shows characters not processing. It's actually a very very good depiction of the things that they're going through, where the author doesn't just sideline them. It's not just a plot point. It doesn't just happen, but the characters don't deal with it very well.
Like, Animorphs never
Great.
says PTSD, but they
There's some
will frequently say, Marco, had this nightmare or that nightmare, or, the nightmares don't stop, or
they
like
have
they
they
show
have
all this.
flashbacks, quote unquote, on camera, on screen. They have morphs that they can't do again because they're traumatized by those morphs. And oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, with Game of Thrones, the TV show is, especially that TV show, is just they're terrible about this. Um there's a lot, and it's yeah, and it's one of those, but anyways, with the prompting for the podcast, um when I was listening to Fandalites, I found myself like having like an internal monologue reaction to what they were saying, because the two co-hosts on that show, they're great, they're awesome, they have some really good discussions, they have some really good insights. It was really cool listening to like their reactions to the series, and just how they felt about it, and but there were some moments where they had reactions to these characters not getting over trauma, or being stuck on trauma that happened like 3 or 4 books ago, and the authors are basically, or the podcast hosts were basically just like, why are they still stuck on something that was 4 books ago? That doesn't make sense, like plot wise. Like, why are we still hearing about this? Like, and they were trying to like talk their way through it and like figure out like, why would this character still be struggling with this? And in my head, I'm internally like yelling at them like, it's PTSD. You don't get over it because it's plot convenient.
Yeah.
and so then, and I just really wanted a space, I guess, where I could like talk about how that made me feel, and how seeing characters process or not process, or function or not function, affected my reading of books. And so, and I was kind of talking to Robin about it, and I was like, hey, do you want to do this as a podcast? Because Robin and I can have discussions on this for days if we wanted to. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you all have no idea how much I cut and slice and edit, and how much we've even re-recorded full episodes because the two of us get on like a tangent about something that's just really, either that usually it's just really hard to read, or we just really had a hard time like processing what the author was doing or saying, and we'll just talk about it or rant about it for like an hour, and then we go, wait a second, we need to put this in a 10-minute segment, and we'll cut
Usually
that
only half an
entire
hour,
thing.
but yeah, that has happened.
Oh no, I've deleted full hour recordings before.
Oh, like really early on. It's
that.
been a while.
Yeah, like really early on, it was really bad. Like, we've gotten better at it over time. But yeah, like I just wanted a space to do that, and so we've kind of seized that moment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. It's good. It's good if as that you are, as an author, are kind of aware of that. Like, I feel like it's one of those things where, I mean, on our podcast we hit series that just kind of brush over things. We hit series where the authors definitely take those things into account, and either the characters process them in a very healthy way or they don't and it messes them up. Like, we're
It's
trying to
had
hit
a
like all
weird.
ranges, but it's when you read especially if you have trauma in your own life that's similar, when you read
Mhm.
a book and that character, it's just brushed over as though it didn't matter. Like, honestly, that for me personally, that's more damaging to read than watching a character relive something I went through.
Oh yeah,
Like,
like
it's a
we've
lot.
for episodes that we're gonna release in the next couple of weeks, like that that's gonna have an example of a sexual assault where it's taken very seriously. We see after effects, but the way that it's handled means that I just like the angle on it is really, really good.
Yeah,
And
it's done
but then
well.
we also have stuff like the Hunger Games where I it when they were really popular, right when they were coming out,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Oh, why is this?" I don't know, like I wasn't ready to get them when they first came out, and it was kind of like, "Oh, I'm reading this because it's popular, but it's not my thing and makes me very uncomfortable." I'm like, now when we reread it for the podcast, I was like, "Oh, it stressed me out because I hadn't acknowledged my trauma about food insecurity." And now I just look at it, I'm like, "Oh, these books have really, really good depictions of trauma related to food insecurity and starvation and PTSD, but the biggest trauma in the first book is the food insecurity." And
Yeah.
I'm really glad that we like took the time to get to talk about that, especially when so much of the public discourse around those books revolves around the love triangle, which isn't actually, not that it isn't actually a big thing in the books,
Yeah, we actually cover it kind of
but
as a topic, but
well, it also like,
it's definitely not the main trauma that Katniss goes through in book 1 for sure,
yeah, and like, oh yeah, like Jeff
or
Richardson,
even
like,
book
yeah,
2.
yes, kids murdering kids, it messes up the whole society, but it's called the Hunger Games for a reason, because in order to have it be in a position where people would send their kids to murder other kids, you had to first have them constantly either starving or on the brink of starving or worried about starving or looking to try and figure out whether they'd have food. And that whole structural thing of being in that space,
Yeah.
like that was set up very, very well in those books in a way that, from my understanding, the movie doesn't convey, because it can't, because it's hard to
Oh,
convey in a movie
I
that kind of
I
thing.
think
Did
they
you
just
think they
didn't
conveyed it well in the
bother.
movie?
I think they just didn't bother. I actually saw the movies without having read the books before,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't even understand like the way they treat hunger in the books versus the movies is like in the movies it's basically non-existent.
Yeah.
Um, and in the books, like, okay, kids killing kids is a major. I mean, it's a thing. It's a traumatic event, like
But there's way
societal
more
thing.
pages devoted to her trying to figure out when she's going to get
Oh,
to eat next and where
like
her food is.
all of
There's pages and pages and pages devoted to it.
there's pages of her just being hungry and hunkering down and avoiding all of the other contestants and vaguely kind of finding out at the end of the day that some of them might have off the other one. Like,
Yeah.
the food is the driving, even the actual like killings that she takes part in are still food motivated. She only cares about winning because she wants to eat again. Like, she only
Yeah.
bothers to defend her stuff because it has food. Like, she like it's all about how that affects her. And um like, it's just, I don't know, it was one of those things, like I said, with figuring out like the idea for this podcast. I wanted a space where I could sit down and talk about how trauma is presented and things that I like or dislike, or empathize with, or it makes sense to me or
Yeah.
don't make sense to me, or in books. And I'm just glad that that my sibling was fully on board to have that conversation and record it into a microphone. um so yeah,
Yeah.
it was good.
And then and Jeff
Yeah.
asked a question about what food insecurity looked like. For us, it looked like due to uh, basically we were in a situation where there was no actual good reason for us not to have enough food, but the person who got our food had was put on an allowance and it wasn't enough to feed and clothe us, and it just kind of alternated which one was missing. And so sometimes everything was fine and sometimes we had our food was rotten or had maggots in it, and that constant not knowing if what we ate was going to be okay left both of us with issues up until the present.
Yeah.
So
Like, I know I can give just a couple of non-graphic examples. um when we were little, meat would be frozen in the freezer until it had freezer burn, and then that's when we knew it was time to cook it. That would happen because if we didn't freeze it and save it that long, we just didn't have any.
yeah,
um I, to this day, if I open a bag, I there was one time where I reached into the cupboard and grabbed a pre-opened sleeve of saltines and bit into them, and there were bugs in them.
yeah, like
I cannot, to this day. I am 28. I cannot come back to a sleeve of crackers that has been previously opened and eat one. I can't
like
do it.
and
I can't do it.
neither of us use condiments in our food, because if you put then you can't tell if it's okay or not.
Oh yeah,
Like,
like there's partly like a texture thing for me, that makes like sauce bad, but also I don't anything. This is partly texture, but it's also partly trauma. Like anything that has some like liquid texture and also there's solids in it, I can't. I feel sick to my stomach trying to. I can't even eat yogurt that has fruit in it. Like I can't
and
eat
like
stew. I can't eat a lot of soups. I can't do it because my brain insists that that solid thing is rotting or somehow poisonous, and I can't do it.
and I don't have that. I have more like I'll have a mental threshold of like however much food is in the cupboards, that's the amount of food that we're supposed to make, so that it's not okay. Then if I get more food, that sets a new level. This is the level we're supposed to have. If it drops below that, now we're not okay. I carried around the same can of pineapples for all of college and didn't get rid of them until a year after graduating. So it just like weird, just need need to stock up, but also even if I stock up, it doesn't do any good because it doesn't feel like it's enough.
I actually,
And
so with
yeah,
the COVID-19 like quarantine lockdown, Jeff, I don't know where you are in the world, but I'm in the US. And we have been told to basically not to hoard things, even though people are doing that. We're not supposed to be doing that because that is wrecking our ability to like have
yeah,
basic necessities. But basically, we've been told kind of blanket wise, like, have approximately 30 days worth of like food and supplies in your house, right? Like have a month worth of stuff just in case. And people took that command and said, "Oh, I'm going to stock up on like 18 months of toilet paper and hand sanitizer," which is not what we were supposed to do. But anyways, I heard the stock up for a month. Okay, so yeah, you're in the same boat as us. Okay. Yeah, so I heard stock up for a month, went around my house, went around my kitchen and double checked my stuff and went, "Oh, I'm already there." like
Yeah, and the only
like
reason that
I live alone. I eat almost nothing. I have over a month worth of food in my house. I probably have like probably 2 or 3 months of worth of food in my house.
yeah,
Just on
and
the daily.
I had enough, but it wasn't enough to feed me and my spouse without my spouse getting stressed out over lack of variety, and so I made a store run,
Single.
and then
Yeah.
one more small store run to catch a couple of things that we missed. And so it's like, okay, I've now shifted from us having a bunch of freezer stuff to us having a bunch of canned stuff. These are all complete meals. Picked up a bag of potatoes. Okay, now I'm good. I am not going shopping again for at least a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Just not doing it. It's not worth it.
Oh,
But
also
the
with
reason that we're
the
able to do that was this prior food insecurity of the cupboards must be full. And then I'm ended up in this weird mental space of like, if I hadn't been trying to fight this instinct for the last 6 months and working on like de-stressing with it,
yeah.
I would have had even more food and I wouldn't have had to go to the store.
Oh, before I
Been like
looked
an
around my
internal mental
house,
struggle.
and said I have over a month of food, I hadn't gone to the store for at least 2.5 weeks prior.
Yeah.
Like, and I will say this, even with all that, I have been very hard pressed because I've been home for a little over a week now.
Yeah.
I've been very hard pressed to not not eat on certain days. I've been very hard pressed to tell myself like, no, you do still have to eat because we have food, because my brain is now in the mode of, okay, I have at least food for a month, but what if? And so like
Yeah.
there's days where I've gotten to like now at night and realize that I haven't eaten since the morning the day before because my brain is switched over into we need to make this last mode, and it's not good. Oh, and you had asked a question that we just so you said do you have that survivor's guilt type thing where now you can eat whenever you feel bad for those that you can't.
I'd say no.
I'm a little
I don't.
confused.
It's do
What
when
is it?
you have enough to eat, do you feel bad that other
Oh,
people
no, no,
don't?
no. No.
No,
No.
it's not that because
Um
the way in which we had a food insecurity situation was so strange and pointless,
yeah.
and that it doesn't have the kind of baggage that other versions that we've heard about have. So no,
Yeah,
not
we have
that bad.
different baggage. We don't have that baggage
Yeah.
necessarily. Now, that being said, if I am in charge of feeding other people, I do skip food to feed them. That is a thing that happens. I
And
don't
I,
I don't not eat and I don't feel guilty if I'm eating because I know people in the world can't eat, but like if we only have enough food for one person in a moment, that other person will eat.
yeah,
Like that I do have that. Which honestly, I mean I did that as a kid. Like
yeah,
Robin and Heather ate even if, and I would skip food if it
yeah,
meant that they ate.
yeah. And
So,
if we go out to eat, I eat food. I eat the parts on my plate in the order, in reverse order of what is most microwavable if I have to bring it home. Just
I,
in, just like little weird stuff. But overall, it
oh
meant that
man, I eat in
we've now.
reverse. I eat in order of least tasty to most tasty because
Oh yes, no, that too.
I want whatever the last bite I have to be
Yeah.
good, because if it's my last one for a while, I don't want it to be a bad
No,
experience.
I also do that. No, absolutely. The
Yeah,
tastiest thing is the last thing. I usually
always.
have a very small bite of all of the things so that I have all the flavors and I know what the options are, and then I eat the thing I like the least first,
Yeah,
so that the last thing that I eat is the tastiest. Because having a random bad flavor at the end is
it's the worst because
is the worst
if
thing.
it's your last one for 3 days, then you don't want that to be it. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I have no memories of meals at our house when I was a kid. Just blanket gone, nothing.
good.
No
I do.
memories.
I have a lot of memories.
I have I know it's not that my memory didn't work from that time period because I have memories of food at our grandparents' house from the exact same time period. No memories of meals at our table at our house.
Yeah. Whereas
Food related
I have an
memories that aren't
active
meals.
memory of biting into maggots. So
Yep. Nope.
that's fun.
Really glad I don't have that.
Yeah. Actually, that is one where I bought not saltines. I bought a box of Ritz crackers about 3 months ago, and I opened one sleeve within a week of buying it, and I ate 3/4 of the sleeve, and I had to throw the rest out because I would never come back to that. It would actually go bad if I didn't, and I have not managed to make myself open anymore, and I know eventually they will be dead to me too. And
See, I have the opposite thing because
but
like
it was like $4, so
my spouse is constantly worried about expiration dates. I have the it doesn't smell yet. We can still eat it. It is still edible. What
oh,
can I do
it
so that we can still eat this
it
thing?
has nothing to do
That's the reaction
with
that I have.
me. It has nothing to do with expiration dates. It's all just knowing
Oh
that
no,
you
not
know.
based on expiration date.
Yeah, like I don't do that.
No, but like I will say like, just since I have a spouse who like constantly thinks things have gone bad and the only way I
Oh,
can prove to them that it hasn't is that the expiration date is fine.
gotcha.
Um like I don't have that. I have like is this still edible? It needs to be eaten. I feel terrible if I have to throw any food away ever.
Mm.
And it's very stressful. But yeah. Um
Yeah, food insecurity is fun to deal with. Um,
yeah. So that's the weird flavor of our particular food insecurities. And like it means that we have to be very careful if we're going to discuss books that talk about food insecurity because like reading the Hunger Games both of us for several weeks.
yeah,
I it was really bad. Like we can read like a lot of stuff, which is part of why we did this podcast, but like oh and no, I don't just eat the stuff my spouse won't eat. I well actually
ration.
no, I won't like use the word scarf. No, it's not that, but I might say, okay, you're not going to eat this anymore. I am going to eat it for lunch. So technically, yes, that does happen.
I have I don't have a spouse that comes into play with
You don't have a spouse.
I don't have a spouse. Yeah. Well, I don't have a roommate either that would
Yeah.
come into play with, but I have two food modes. I either eat everything in about 10 seconds because what if it's gone in 11? What if it gets taken away from me? Or I will make something I'm eating last for literally hours because if this is the last thing I'm going to get, then I don't want it to be gone too soon.
I cooked a chicken and rice dish last Saturday and I have remixed it so that we still have it now. Finally, yesterday, I put the last bits of it in the freezer and I will have them for some lunch because my spouse is entirely sick of that food. And I'm like, it's still good.
Yeah.
We have to finish this. I'm not throwing it away. So yeah, like
Yeah.
it means that of all the topics, we're not going to talk about food stuff very much on the podcast because it is such a stressful thing for both of us. But also, we are going to sometimes talk about it because it's a stress for people, and that's what the podcast is about.
Yeah.
Um, so, but yeah, uh,
Um
gonna do a
do
couple of the random questions or be done. I'm good with going longer. Um,
okay. Yeah, we
or
can
or
we can
or
end.
do like just a couple minutes.
Jeff, do you have a particular like a specific question do you want us to answer? Because we can do that too.
Yeah, if you've got
Actually.
questions.
Feed the kids. Oh my god. Yeah. Not for the same reasons, but that is relatable content.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, if you've got like more questions, we'll answer them.
Yeah, I actually.
I'd say it's probably like cut this off in 25 minutes, but if we end sooner than that, we do. If not, stop then.
Yeah.
How I feel about it. Oh. See. Look at the other questions we had. The most recent book that we have covered is The Hork-Bahir Chronicles by K.A. Applegate. It is part of the Animorphs series. It's the first of our episodes. It's a thing called a highlight, where we pick one book to be representative of a much larger series. So from here on out, we're not going to cover an entire series if there are more than 4 books in it, because that's 2 months of episodes.
Yeah.
But he wants that.
The latest book.
Yeah, so that is the Hork-Bahir Chronicles. And we...
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, technically.
Currently, it's the Hork-Bahir Chronicles. And we picked that one out of the Animorphs series because it's one that actually makes sense, even if you haven't read any of the other books. More of it will make more sense if you have read other parts of the series, but it is very self-contained. And also, if you read it and that made you decide to read the whole series, it is chronologically the second earliest book on the entire timeline.
Yeah.
Did we have any books that we think really see, we have a new question. Do you think there are any books that messed up on showing how trauma affects the characters, or just like doesn't show it affecting them? Anything we've covered?
Yes. I think so.
What is your thought for that?
I'm trying to remember if we've released this episode yet.
Well, we can tease it here as coming at some point if we haven't yet. What is it?
That's true. So,
say of the episodes we have recorded.
I'm gonna actually look at our list of what we've recorded, because I don't want to try and... I feel like I'm gonna end up skipping one. Okay, so where is our episode? Because we do have like a list that we work with.
Let's see.
Okay, recording.
I have the list up.
I think... So we have, there are some... This is actually a very hard question to answer, because in my personal opinion, I feel that there are some books that legitimately just did a bad job, but I also feel that there are some books where if you take them out of context and say, this is just a book in the world and I am an adult reading it, it does not show what the characters go through, or it shows it in a very almost dismissive light.
Mm-hmm.
But also, the context for a lot of these books is that they are kind of geared toward middle schoolers. They're YA novels. They're geared toward like middle school, early high school. And so in that context, the author has to think what is going to be traumatic for a middle schooler to read. So, with that being said, I think that as much as I love the series, I think that the Golden Compass series got it.
Yeah.
I think there is a particular trauma in.
Is it
I'm
end
trying
of book
to.
2?
I'm trying to remember if it was end of. I think if it was end of book 2 or if it was beginning. It was the
Is
kidnapping.
it? Oh, the kidnapping. Yes, that is not.
I think.
So one of the things that we try not to judge how accurate a character's reaction is.
Yeah.
We don't, and we say it on the episode. We don't like how this is said
We
because
we
you
don't.
have.
I mean, like we
Yeah,
don't
we
like
don't
a
like how
lot of things about how that trauma was handled. It just.
so it's someone is kidnapped and yes, someone is kidnapped and they end up thinking that the kidnapper was their rescuer, and someone close to them knows that that's wrong, hears that that's what they think happened, and doesn't tell them.
And it's not even like. And it's just dismissed in text in a way where the text reads like it's not even like there's some kind of moral decision that the book kind of makes you pick a side on. Like it's literally just, oh, perception of reality is wrong and damaging and almost Stockholm
Because it means that
syndrome-esque,
she then
and
has
we're just
it
gonna
means that
move
she has
on.
guilt. She has like guilt over thinking that she judged her incorrectly without knowing, no, you were right,
Yes.
she was creepy the whole time. And so it ends up being this weird contribution to gaslighting because Lyra now thinks that it was not kidnapping but a rescue, and that she was wrong about her the whole time.
Yeah.
And she doesn't get told,
and
no, you were right, this wasn't okay.
and it almost reads in a way that it almost feels like, and this is, I don't actually remember if this is something that's Jeff, that's what I was just gonna say, like this, I don't think this is something we talk about in the episode, but like me as an adult looking at it, I can look at it and go, man, that's not how you do that at all, and that's not okay, and that's super harmful. As a kid, that's
It
almost
it
gaslighting your reader, and potentially
yeah,
depending on their life experience, and it's really bad.
because it has
um
a little bit of a message of no matter how much your parents hurt you, it's okay, they loved you, they're your parents.
yeah, it definitely has that vibe, and it has that vibe with a literal like kidnapping, drugging experience, and it's just not good.
Like, when I want to
At
praise
all.
this series, I praise this series as a story about the loss of innocence that doesn't inflict loss of innocence on its reader.
Yes.
It is also
Accurate.
not a perfect series. I do still recommend it.
Oh, it's a
But if
very
I,
good
for
series,
example,
but
knew that a friend of mine had been kidnapped when they were younger, I would not recommend this book to them.
yeah, I
Just
mean,
no.
just if you know, if it's somebody who wouldn't have context to look at it and realize that it was bad, like it's not a good depiction of that, and it's a very, very harmful for the reader depiction. I'm looking through the list to see if there's any others. We definitely did start this podcast with books that we already enjoyed and liked.
Yeah, we
um
wanted to set like the premise and get like our ratings worked out with stuff where we mostly thought they did it well,
yeah.
because we don't want someone to be like, well, if they covered it, it must be a bad book. That's not what's happening.
No, like we want to talk about all books, good and bad. um I Oh, Salamandastron. This one,
Yeah,
we haven't. I don't. Did we release this one already? I don't think so.
no,
No.
we have not released Salamandastron yet. It is
Salamandastron we have
it's
not
highlight number.
released. This is in the Redwall series. Um. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's okay. Reading your comment about shared morality. That is a flaming hot take that I don't disagree with,
Yeah,
especially
the
when by the
writer
time he got to book 3.
The writer wanted so hard to deny Christianity that he threw out any shared morality of human beings. Yeah,
That's
yeah, it does have a bit of that.
it has some of that in there. Um,
But overall, as a series, as an ex-Christian, it's kind of cathartic to read,
yeah.
but not a
um,
perfect series.
yeah. Um,
Uh,
so Salamandastron is in the Redwall series, and it's I there are some things in this series that are super super traumatic that we actually had, like, I don't remember if this is on air or off air, so to speak. Um, but there are some, like, things that the characters go through that are handled in a very, like, jovial, like, of course this is how it is, because you have the good guys and the bad guys and none in between.
mhm.
And now Redwall as a whole deconstructs that narrative over time. Um, but if you aren't reading multiple Redwall books to kind of get the characters who look at that narrative and say, "Hey, that doesn't make sense," you can't just assume. Haku, our junior assistant editor, is weighing in by trying to play with my teacup and the spoon that I have to drink tea. Hey,
I'd say overall,
no, Haku,
Redwall is
no,
a
get down.
really good series that with um eh, death and choices and consequences and like taking
There's a lot.
responsibility and like there's so much really really good stuff in that series.
Oh yeah.
But if you only read one of them, depending on which one you happen to read, it is very possible and sometimes even likely to
Mm.
come away with the thought of like, oh, it's got this really strict like this species of creature is bad and this species is good or whatever. And over time as a series, because like this series takes place over hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Like
This
it's a
Redwall.
series about people about creatures in a region and their societies over generations.
Yeah.
And so it's really really cool and that's part of what lets you jump in with almost any of them.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but also it means that if you read the bit where they say all vermin are bad and then
And then you
you
stop.
don't read the
Yeah.
series and then you don't read the book Marl Fox, which is all about how part of why foxes can be bad is because everyone thinks they're going to be bad and they just get put into a box for life and no one lets them be good. If you don't read that one, it's easy to think that in this world all foxes are bad.
Yeah, and
And
Redwall is a slow morality burn because it also kind of, again, over multiple books, it tackles the fact that even if an individual kind of learns better, it's very very hard for a society to learn better.
mm-hmm,
Like, it also tackles that viewpoint and that problem. And it's a persistent theme in these books that you'll have a character who basically goes, "Oh, the species that you are born doesn't dictate your morality," and they kind of come to that realization and they kind of work through some of those things, but nobody else listens to them and nobody else thinks like is okay with that. And so then the next book, that same society in the next generation still hasn't really figured that out. And so it's if you just sit down, and Redwall has a lot of books. So like if you just sit down and read Redwall, it honestly doesn't even matter if you're reading them chronologically in canon, like the order of the actual events of the stories, or if you read them in the order they were published. Like, both are good for that series. Um, if you sit down and just read through the narrative and you just like get a good way through it, um, there's a very very strong message of choices determine who you are. Not in the book, it's what species you're born as. It's not the species you're born as, but
right.
in real life, it's a very clear analog to just like what you are born as or with or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but if you only read one or two, you don't get all those pieces.
Yeah.
So, So when we were reading Salamandastron, there was a lot of things where if you only read Salamandastron, it's like, whoa, we have some prejudiced characters, don't we? And it's one of those.
Yep.
I'm trying to see if there's any others, because we really haven't. We have so many books that are like to be recorded or to be.
I think answering with 2 is enough for now.
Yeah, I mean, and those two are like have those things for very different reasons also. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. 'Cause, like in general, we
A
loved
book.
Coraline. I feel like there was something with the Supernaturalist that we took issue to.
Um,
I'm
I
trying to
don't
remember
remember.
what it was.
Recorded that
That was a
long
while
enough
ago.
ago that I don't know now.
Yeah.
If you have more questions,
I mean, we have like it's like 9:50. I feel
yeah.
like.
What is your last question? And we will answer that. Uh, one last one to wrap this thing up. Thank you so much for joining us and asking so many questions. This is great.
Yeah. Building this slowly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what it was. I feel like there was something with the Supernaturalist that we ended up having like a really like in-depth argument about how we wanted to handle it because we just didn't like it for different reasons. I just don't remember why.
We have a Harry Potter question. Yeah,
Oh.
about Umbridge, Dolores Umbridge. How did the teacher's abuse of Harry affect me? I have just like a mental thing where like when there are visual or written depictions of trauma to hands, it feels like it's on my hands.
Same.
But that was long enough. It was long enough ago when I read those. I don't know whether I had this thing before that book or not. It's entirely possible that part of why I have that is from that book. I can't vouch for that. I just know that the first time I read Uglies, I was fine. And later when I read Uglies, I wasn't fine. And in the middle, I had, like, I think I read Harry Potter in the middle of that. So, I don't know. I know that I would not be okay reading it again. Dolores Umbridge is terrible. The way he got gaslit is very bad. For anyone who hasn't read the series, he basically he writes these words. I think it's related to like not lying or something.
I will not tell lies. I will not tell lies. I will not tell lies. I will not tell lies.
And him writing it cuts the words into his hand, and the more he writes it, the deeper the cuts on his hands got. And as someone who had, like, I had to brush my teeth with soap when I was a kid for like saying a bad word. I believe it was shit. And then I had to brush my teeth with soap. And I didn't swear again until I was older than 20. So like that kind of it's a different kind of punishment, but like it was really, really bad. What was your reaction for this?
I have dermographia.
Yeah, both of us do.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You do, don't you? I have it
Yeah,
in like
yours is stronger, but I have it too.
Yeah, mine is in the super classical sense where I can like lightly touch my skin without breaking it, and like I get what looks like a welt, or a scar.
Describe what dermographia is.
Oh, dermographia literally means skin writing. I basically have a like a mini like topical allergic reaction to nothing is what
Yep.
happens.
Basically, if you
Um,
have this, you can use your fingernails to write with words on your skin, and they will kind of show up
mhm.
as outlines for at
um,
least a minute.
oh,
I
mine
know
is close
yours.
to it can be a minute, it can be like an hour
Yeah,
with no
mine usually
variation.
last between 3 and 5 minutes, but I can use my finger to write on my skin, and it'll show up red
Yeah.
against my. And
So
so
my reaction to
to umbrage.
to umbrage was to go find a red pen and just write that on my arm a lot so that it looked like my arm was raised and bleeding. That's not a good reaction.
It's not a good reaction.
On a psychological level, I
Other stuff was going
on
on.
a psychological level, that made Harry make sense to me.
Yeah. No, like
I actually like I read a lot of the Harry Potter books as they kind of came out, but it felt like a story about a kid who was kind of relatable, and then he went through Umbridge, and I was like, oh, no, I understand where you're coming from.
especially with like given
Not super good.
his home life at the Dursleys, going from that
Hi, Haku.
constant gaslighting,
You're so
it
cute.
completely it is frustratingly realistic for him
Yeah.
not to have told anyone about Umbridge hurting him. We don't like that in the story, not because it was unrealistic, but because it was one more bad thing happening.
Yeah. Um, I actually had a weird moment as an adult, uh, where I saw like an analysis of Harry Potter at one point where they were like, this doesn't blah 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 make sense because Harry, why wouldn't Harry tell a grown up? Why wouldn't Harry go to a teacher? Why wouldn't Harry go get help? And my immediate reaction was, you don't tell the abusers that you know. Like, you don't tell them that you're handling this. You don't tell them that somebody else is hurting you too. And Harry not talking to someone about Umbridge and handling it himself was super relatable content.
Like, we definitely recommend tell a different adult that you trust, but also
But
that
also, if
he
you ask
didn't is
12-year-old me,
completely
but
understandable.
also if you ask 12 to 18-year-old me if you should do that, I would have said, why would you even consider it? But as an adult, I
Yeah.
know better.
For me, Harry Potter is a weird series because it's like he is a trust fund kid who became a cop,
Yeah, literally.
but also he was
He was in an
a very
abused orphan
abused.
child.
He was an abused orphan child who
Yeah.
ended up being able to build an actual life, and it it means that like the fandom is amazing, but also I'm not surprised by terrible stuff the author keeps saying because she wrote a story about a trust fund kid who became a cop.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
Um,
But yeah,
yeah, Harry actually building a life afterward is definitely that honestly, like that is a legitimately positive ending to that story. Um but also that is weirdly one of those things where that's where the story loses me. If
yeah,
that
the
makes
ending,
sense.
yeah, like everything up until then. Like if I just
Everything up until
didn't,
then sounded like makes sense,
yeah,
normal, fine, great.
and
And
then oh,
then
by the way, he ends up as an Auror, and
it's like,
oh
why would
no,
he
why
wait, hold on. Like, yeah,
he this doesn't fit the rest of the books.
yeah.
So
But also, it's good that, kids would read that and go, oh, he can do what he wants anyway. But
yeah,
for us, it was like, not sure about that. That sounds too positive. Sounds too happy.
We probably won't end up covering Harry Potter on the podcast. What is more likely is that we will cover a series that was recommended to us as Harry Potter but queer.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about magic stuff, and we do sometimes dip into like we will definitely like go into popular series, like we covered the Hunger Games, but part of why we covered the Hunger Games is because when I told people about the podcast, about every fifth person said, "You mean like the Hunger Games?" And I'm like, okay, if that's this many people's instinctive reaction, we should read it.
Yeah.
And then it actually had really realistic portrayals.
Oh,
that we're just not expecting.
With your comment on him becoming a social worker or a teacher or a writer, I am disappointed he didn't become the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher permanently.
Yeah, that would have been so amazing.
Yeah.
And then it's no longer a cursed position, and he actually keeps it for more than a year, and it's just him. That would have been so amazing.
That would be the ending that I wanted.
He would have been somebody else's Lupin, and it would have been so good.
Yeah, Lupin is also relatable.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Thank you for joining us, and
thank you so much,
and for being, part of our questions at the end. We've been doing this. The plan is to do this the last Saturday of every month, so we'll have our regular episodes up, and then at the end of April we'll be back to do another stream.
Harry Dresden, the Dresden Files.
That's on my list. I love the Dresden Files.
If we're gonna cover Jim Butcher, I want to cover the Furies of Calderon series.
We've had this discussion before.
Yeah, like we're probably gonna cover something by Jim Butcher eventually. We just disagree about which series of his we're gonna do. Yeah, I mean, we could do like a weird like.
We're intentionally not doing multiple things by the same author because there's so many, at least not very, we have a time frame for that because there's so many good authors and we don't want to get stuck on, our same favorites. Yeah. So we keep having a conversation over what Jim Butcher book series we should actually do.
We should probably end up, if it's this much of an issue, we should probably do, a Jim Butcher highlight where we do a twofer and one episode we read a book from Furies of Calderon and then a book from Dresden. That could go pretty well.
I just honestly, if we do Furies of Calderon and I just reread Dresden, I would just argue that you should just read Dresden and do it as the Twitter reviews. It's just good. So, you should talk to us about your interview show at some point.
Yes, definitely. Please do talk to us about that show, Jeff. We are very reachable. But
booksthatburn@yahoo.com.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. If you would like to be able to submit questions for what eventually will be a stream populated by questions from patrons, please consider supporting us at patreon.com/booksthatburn. And if you have questions or comments, you can reach us at booksthatburn@yahoo.com. We are also on Facebook and Twitter. Both of those places that burn.
And we have a Facebook group if you want to just discuss books.
Yes, please go discuss books. It is facebook.com/groups/booksthatburn. You can also find it off of our main page. Basically, we got into everything early enough with a unique enough handle that everything thus far is just Books That Burn, and we don't have any weird variants across platforms, and it makes everything pretty easy.
Yes.
So please check us out, and thank you so much for joining us.
All right. And we'll see you. We'll be back in the stream in a month, and we have a new episode dropping in a week on Monday.
And for patrons, it drops this Monday.
Drops for patrons this Monday. Regular feed in a week.
Yep.
All right. Have a good evening.
Bye.
Stay safe.